All right.
concrete
Thank you
answers
so
from
much, Shweta, for joining us on the broadcast and for bringing us all those details. We are moving on to some other national news now. This is another tragic incident that we are reporting. At least 13 people aboard a private bus were burnt to death and 22 were injured in a blaze triggered following the vehicle's collision with a tipper in Marapuram district on Thursday. Top government officials have also said that the accident occurred between 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. near Rayavaram Bridge and village on the road leading to Podidi when the bus rammed into the concrete chips laden dumper truck, colliding with its fuel tank, which sparked a massive inferno. Now, President Draupadi Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and Chandrababu Naidu have expressed grief over the incident. Let me in fact bring in some more information that is coming in. The death toll in the bus accident that occurred in Marapuram district has now risen to 14. Another 28 passengers sustained injuries in the mishap. Those critically injured are receiving treatment at the Ongole Government Hospital, while those with minor injuries are being treated at the Marapuram Government Hospital. Meanwhile, officials have initiated measures to identify the deceased. Let me introduce the panelists who are joining us right now. Ms. Brinda Adige, who is a social activist, Anurag Kurukshetra, who is a road safety expert of tracks. Let me in fact go across to Mr. Anurag Kurukshetra first. Sir, when we are talking about this accident and when we talk about road safety, this seems to be an issue that is taking the most number of lives in India currently.
Yeah, well, actually it has become a pandemic for India because in Parliament our minister has already expressed its own view. I'm unable to stop the accidents and accidents are increasing day by day. So he is also helpless. So the thing is that why accidents are happening, because like this is a stretch where 4-lane highways, the single lane highway was converted into 4-lane, and there are number of places where this 4-lane highway is converted into 2 lanes only, means there's no divider. So suddenly there's a change in the pitch, like from 4-lane to 2-lane, 2-lane to 4-lane. So it's an infrastructural problem, and just because of making 40 kilometers road a month or a day, it has become the pandemic. Because suddenly if 4 lanes are converting into 2 lanes, and without divider, so drivers are unable to keep the momentum and the focus on the road. So these mistakes they are committing again and again, and this is the root cause behind it. Second thing is the failure of our administrative network, that is basically the enforcement, because they are not having any watch anywhere. They are happy with the state headquarters in cities, city headquarters, and they are not having any focus on highways. So these accidents happenings are regular on our highways, expressways, and even state highways also. I'm just giving you one point, because when Pakistan has started these highways in Pakistan in 1975 almost, in 75 they made one highway police force separately from the district or the state administration. That was the central highway police. But India, we are producing 40 kilometers highway a day, but we don't have any enforcement over there. Yes, we are glamorized. The people are glamorized. Yes, we are having the camera enforcement on our roads. We can check the speeds over there. Thousands of kilometers road are there, and you are having just 1% length cameras over there. How can you enforce them? And is there live monitoring out of these? There's no live monitoring. They are getting the data first from these cameras, and then they are investigating or going through that after 1 or 2 days. So there's no live monitoring, no highway police in India. So that's why these accidents or these occurrences are happening again and again, and nobody can stop this. Our central government and state governments, basically they have to take the serious concern, they have to show the serious concern about this to stop these nonsenses or the deaths happening on our roads, because expressing the grief by PM, CM, and Rashtrapati is not a serious concern. When we
Right.
are dying in bulk, everybody is coming forward and just expressing the grief. But what
Absolutely,
about the
absolutely.
individual
Very
death? There are
unfortunate,
four people who are being
incident over here. So let me also go across to Brinda ma'am on this. Ma'am, there are obviously various issues that we can point out through this incident. We can look at the private bus, the private players who are involved, if they were, taking care of the bus, if the bus malfunctioned, if, they modified the bus, that's why the passengers were unable to escape the inferno that took place over there. This also comes into the question of road safety as well, then the question of providing two drivers, because this happened early in the morning. That's usually the time that, there might be sleep fatigue. So multiple issues, ma'am, when we are looking at this, but in the end it's the people. 13 people unfortunately have lost their lives.
You're absolutely right. The passengers, the people who traveled in those buses with so much confidence that the next morning they will be reaching their destination, their families, their loved ones for some important occasion, function. But like you pointed out, one part of it is the responsibility of the bus manufacturers. The other is the responsibility of the people who own the bus and who are hiring drivers for these services. We know that most of them cheat. Most of the companies cheat. They do not have two drivers who can take over from each other. So like you mentioned, driver fatigue is very, very high. But that said, should there not be inspections by the company that owns the bus, whether the driver is capable before you start the journey? Has the driver had his food? Have they consumed alcohol? Now, all of these things are supposed to be safety measures and concerns to be taken care of. The accountability squarely lies on the owners and the management of those who own and ply these buses. And that is also the responsibility that they have taken up when they sign up these contracts with the government. And then what stops all of them to have a speed limit? Nothing. They can have a speed limit. Why do they not have it? We know that in the middle of the night, there are buses racing with each other on highways. And we're looking at heavy transport racing against each other, looking at almost 80, 100 kilometers, which our roads are not capable of handling. And after that comes the highway patrol. They sleep through the day and the night. They do nothing. And like the previous panelists mentioned over there, there is no live monitoring. There are no highway patrols on this road. Even if they were, they are so heavily corrupt that a few $100 and then you can go ahead and do whatever you want. After all this, let us assume that some case is registered by a traffic police at some point. These cases don't ever come up in court. There are only compromises made between two parties. They never look at the crime that has been committed of 10, 20, 30 or a busload of people who have been killed. So we have to place the blame and the responsibility on the state first and then on the management. How many licenses of these companies have been withdrawn? None. Where have they said that you cannot ply your buses without these inspections done by the RTO? Never. We are a jugaad country. We talk a lot about development. We talk a lot about reaching the other side or the dark side of the moon. And we will continue to remain in the dark over here. Nobody to question anybody. And if you're a government officer, a Sarkari Naukar, finished. All citizens are their Naukars. And they are the feudal lords.
All right.
No accountability. Unless we fix accountability, unless there is accountability fixed on everybody, including the courts, to deliver swift judgments and orders, this will continue and we, the citizens, will lose our lives in all of these things.
Tragic
where
accidents. Absolutely, ma'am. We do need to, it does